Xavier Griffin just announced a verbal commitment to the Crimson Tide, joining their 2026 recruiting class, becoming their 14th overall commit, their third five-star pledge, joining Xavier Crowell and also Jordan Edmonds, who are also rated as five-star prospects here in this 2026 recruiting class. Griffin is a guy who the Crimson Tide have been working on for more than a year, offered him in March of 2024. And immediately after that offer, it looked as if the Crimson Tide could make a significant run for the five-star linebacker, because this is a guy, after he got that offer, he told me that he grew up an Alabama fan, actually grew up in the Huntsville, Alabama area, although he is a guy who currently plays for Gainesville High School in Gainesville, Georgia. He grew up in Alabama watching the Nick Saban era, and knowing that he had an opportunity to possibly play for the Crimson Tide was something that really stood out to him at that point in his recruitment. The Crimson Tide immediately tried to get him on campus multiple times. He eventually committed to USC, but the Crimson Tide did not take their foot off the gas in terms of trying to push him to get him on campus, stay in contact with him. Alabama's outside linebacker coach Christian Robinson was really persistent in terms of trying to get Xavier Griffin. I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that they are recruiting him to play that wolf linebacker position. And he looks as if he is built for that in terms of what he brings to the table. You're talking about a long, athletic linebacker who can play sideline to sideline. Whenever I'm talking about this kid, I refer back to this film that we saw when we saw him play earlier in the season when Gainesville High School came to Alabama to take on Moody High School in Alabama. You could tell that Griffin can bend the edge. He could play sideline to sideline. You saw that length. You saw that athleticism. You saw his ability to turn and run. But whenever you guys get an opportunity, which you're going to see on this film we're going to show you today, you're going to see some of his film from his junior season that was not at that Moody game. You're going to see some of the same stuff come to the forefront. The main thing I really want to point out, though, is his ability to play in space and be just as versatile linebacker. You're going to see him with his hand in the ground at times, but you're also going to see him play off the ball and be able to excel at playing in space. As he's playing that basically inside linebacker role right now, he's going to be able to get to the sideline with great speed, be able to flow all over the football field. Once again, now he has his hand in the ground, being able to be a guy who's able to make himself skinny and get into the backfield. Playing off the ball, but look as if he's going to come on a blitz here, take a great angle, hit the hole really well, and get to the quarterback, disrupt play. So you're going to see him be used at different positions along the Gainesville defensive front at their second level, playing as an inside linebacker. And I think that is where Alabama's vision is going to be for him. He's going to be a guy that you're going to be able to use in all these different ways. And that's kind of like where the comparison between him and the Crimson Tide's former linebacker Jahad Campbell comes in. It is in terms of their skill set. Like whenever I compare them, I think it's more so just how versatile both of these guys are, not so much based on size, because when you take a look at their sizes, Jahad Campbell has a little bit more of a thicker frame. I think Xavier Griffin is a little bit more lean and angular at this particular point in his development anyway. So the Crimson Tide getting the commitment from Xavier Griffin is huge in my mind, and for so many different reasons, because you can see why this kid is a five-star prospect, because he is that linebacker that you're going to go after in today's age of college football. You need athletic guys who can play in space, because offensive players are continue to clock in 4.340s everywhere. It seems now on the recruiting trail, if you're not clocking in at least a 4.40, if you're an offensive player, and if you're a defensive player, at least if you're a linebacker, you need to run at least a 4.5 or below to get an offer. And it's just kind of like the speed and just the changing game of how athletic prospects are getting, and just the changing landscape of how the football players across, whether it's college football, NFL. Look at the combine. Look at the numbers those guys are putting up. And I think Xavier Griffin is just a product of this changing landscape of just football in general. But Griffin is another great get for the Crimson Tide. I think their recruiting class now is challenging to be one of the best here in this 2026 recruiting class, no matter what recruiting site you take a look at. But this is the update I want to provide you guys with today. As always, I'm Justin Smith, Director of Recruiting and Managing Editor here at Touchdown Alabama.